Hello everybody, this is gonna as a follow-up tutorial about Hype Data Magic. I haven't done one of those in a while. Also, I have done only a very basic video for Hype Data Magic to show you how to set data. I haven't covered the usage of variables, and this is going to be something we're going to use today. I haven't also updated it for a year, but what it does is sufficient for me. So there are some minor bugs I have encountered over the time. I might fix them in a 1.4 release, but they're so minor they're just in the IDE, and this is anyway a gimmick to have a preview. This is the big difference between Hype Data Magic and hyperactive content, that you get this live preview, and it's always a little bit more work. So I haven't included the live preview to hyperactive content, as it also is more dependent on live data and custom data. So Hype Data Magic basically works with data supplied from the outside with the data objects, so we can have the live preview. And I wanted to show you today Hype Data Magic in conjunction with variables. So as always, you can download Hype Data Magic from the zip file here, and then you can include Hype Data Magic, the min to your project. I recommend that in production. For preview and for testing, you can always hotlink. So you just take the script tag here and include it into your Hype file. I've covered this in another tutorial already. So let's just start Hype. So we navigate over to head HTML. We include our script tag. And to start off, as I covered this in another tutorial, I won't go into the details what we're doing now. We're setting some default data. So we can just take the default data from the example here and head back to Hype, just paste it. And so we are calling the Hype Data Magic set data after we have loaded the extension. And let's remove those keys, just have one key. Let's call this key greeting. And we want to greet the user. So in this case, we say something like hello. Then we would put our name here, comma, and then we said, how are you today? This is what we're talking about today. We want to have the name here where the X's are. So we can use variables inside of Hype Data Magic. For that, we actually can use this syntax, and we put the name here. So what will this do? We can assign this string to a rectangle in Hype, and let's do that. I'm just going to use a rectangle. I prefer them over text. I don't know why. So let's remove the color, the border, and then we can assign our Data Magic key, and our key was greeting. So there we go. So now it's saying hello undefined, because this variable name isn't undefined. Where is it pulling name from? It's pulling name from custom data. So as we don't have any custom data, and custom data is only populated at the moment we publish, there is a way to have a preview nevertheless, and also to set some custom data to be used in Hype Data Magic, and also to populate directly when your Hype file is loaded. So what you can do is you can write Hype Data Magic, and I have in my extensions always this concept of setting defaults. There are a lot of defaults set by me, but you always can change my defaults. And there's also one default that is set to an empty object for the custom data. So you can override that, and you can just say set default, and the default is called custom data. If you custom data, and if you set this default, now you can pass in an object and then close the whole thing. I like to put this on an extra line, and now you can write your default custom data here that you want to have on launch. It's good for having something link outs or call to actions or whatever you want to change on the fly also. So let's say we define name here and say hello Max Siebel. So now if we go back to the scene, you will see it says hello Max Siebel, how are you today? And this is basically something you can always change. If you change the variable in custom data name on the fly in your app, this will always update. And this way you can have like fixed strings you give to your text person or somebody, or if you do your text yourself, you can have those strings, and then you still have variable portions in here. This is, goes even beyond the regular text. You can actually put a whole SVG string in here and have certain variables pulled in from outside, like color or whatever. Now you can even use this to create components. So I want to show you what I mean by that. You can, let's say we put this all into a symbol. Now this is a symbol, and we can duplicate it. So now we have it twice, but it's not really much use because let's say we want to have different names in each of those instances. So you can go into your symbol, and we have the association here. But how about we want to pull the data from a data set? And you can do that. So you can actually tell it to pull the data here, not from the name we are defining here. So let's get rid of this. You can actually tell it to pull it from the dataset. So dataset name, we're telling it again to pull it there. So it's undefined now. And if you define a dataset here, data name, you can say max. So now it's max. It's still not that useful because if you go outside, you still have both them having the same name. So what I want to have actually is that I put the dataset here. So like outside of the symbol, I would say data name is Moritz. So it still didn't update here, and even if you think it's based on that, even if you remove this, it's still undefined because the dataset always only takes the dataset of the element it's on. So if we defined our magic key on this element here, this rectangle, there is no way to fetch the data by default from outside. But you can define a new attribute to tell it where to also look for datasets, and it merges them with the existing dataset. So magic, and then you can have this dataset sets. It's plural because you can have multiple. And I think most people haven't used this until now, but you can. I just wanted to inform you about it. That's the point of this whole video. So you can tell it now to fetch from its parent. So now suddenly it has hello Moritz because it's getting it from the outside. And this one doesn't have anything. So we can now say data name, and this is Max in this case. So here's a little bug from 1.3.9. It doesn't update immediately, but if you click into it or if you publish it, it's automatically updated. So there's that like a little refresh bug. So this is where you can have now different symbols, but have still some things set by the data name. Really simple. Also, one side note I didn't mention, this Hype Data Magic sets doesn't only support parent, it supports some other values too. Let's head over to the source code. So this resolves datasets variables. So we use parent. It has parents, plural. The only difference between parent and parents is that it basically walks down the entire tree. So if you define parent, it actually goes out one layer to the outside of to one element up. But if you have it like a really nested and you define parents, it takes all the data sets from its origin back to the root of the scene. And then there is also for the pros, if they want to use this kind of stuff, you can use the closest. You start your declaration with closest, and you can find, then you can have a selector, the closest selector, if you're familiar with closest, or you can have just a general selector. And this selector is basically searched inside of the document. So you can find anything you want on the page and use that as a dataset source. Not sure if dataset is always the best source for data, but it's there if you need it. And you can also use customData because this is like local specific to the document and however you need it. I mostly use it with customData, as I showed in the beginning, with the default setting default up here. And yeah, I hope this helps. See you next time.